Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra versus iPad Pro M4 speed test. Coming up, let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's go ahead and begin this speed test with a boot up in 3, 2, go and see which one can get there first. Now, we're using a newer MediaTek CPU on here, although it is faster than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 that replaces the S9 Ultra. And over here, we're using the Apple iPad Pro M4. This has the same chip you'll find in the CPU in the MacBook. And you've seen the Samsung Galaxy Tab actually turned on a little bit faster. We are looking at a 14.6 inch display. So that's actually larger than the iPad and larger than the MacBook 14, which is 14.2. So that is a huge display over there. The biggest Galaxy product you can use in terms of a mobile product right there. Okay, when it comes to unlocking these products, when you take a look at the Samsung, all you got to do is just look at the cameras and you can bypass the lock screen and get right in. Now that's super useful if you got this thing propped up on a desk and you have it at home. It's not really going to be a security risk, so it's pretty convenient. However, it's not the most secure. You're going to want to go with the fingerprint for that, although it's still better than having to swipe to unlock, although not as convenient and doesn't really work as a biometric method. When we're looking at like applications and stuff like that, you'll need to use the fingerprint sensor. And then the iPad moves the camera to the proper location now in the landscape view, and you can see Face ID works basically flawless, just like it does on the iPhone. So very good, very amazing performance. And that unlocking does work with basically all of your authentication applications, such as the most popular banking apps, for example. So I will say that the iPad's a little slower to unlock than the Samsung, and the Samsung, just like the phones, has more methods, but you might like Face ID for certain apps over the Samsung. It's really up to you, but both of them do unlock pretty nicely. All right, so when it comes to the general performance, both of them do have really, really snappy day-to-day performance, and I was a little concerned that they went to the MediaTek chip here, but it's clocked very high. It is one of the faster CPUs out there, and I haven't noticed any slowdowns or differences between this and like a Snapdragon being in the Samsung Tab. So it's been pretty amazing. We'll see how it does in the benchmarks, but the iPad Pro has the MacBook level CPU in here, and it doesn't really make a massive difference unless you use something that really pushes it, like maybe Final Cut or something like that, maybe LumaFusion, something that will render out those videos. That's where I really see it. But day to day, both of these kind of perform at a similar pace, just for kind of like using your day-to-day apps and stuff. So there's no real issues there. Both of them are 120 hertz as well. All right, guys, so here we are at the app test. We're going to just launch some applications, see how they do with animations, how they look in terms of just launching your day-to-day stuff. Let's begin with calendar. 3, 2, go. And you've seen, I think that was the iPad. Let me go ahead and turn off dark mode to make sure these match up. And we'll go ahead and swipe up out of there. The iPad seemed to swipe faster back. Let's go to clock. And really tough to see there. Let's go to world clock. We'll go to stopwatch and timers, and everything seeming pretty nice. Swiping even looks pretty similar. Let's go into calculator here on both, and both of them do pretty good. Finally, iPad has some more features, has history finally. Samsung calculator has been having history, so we're not really getting anything different there. We'll swipe up out of there. We'll go into weather. And you'll see, because the Samsung actually is a much taller screen right here, you'll see it does show more content than this one over here. You'll have to scroll down to get the same information. So really just a big size difference though. I wonder, would you guys like to see a 15-inch iPad to compete more here? Let's go into news. And actually, the Galaxy won that, even though that's in beta. I think this news app is in beta over here, and it still won it out. But would you like to see a 15-inch iPad, or do you think the 13-inch is already pushing it? What do you guys think? Comment your thoughts down below. But kind of scrolling, I am noticing though that the Samsung, you could tell it's in beta. It's got like this little jumping effect. a little bit choppier there. So definitely the iPad smoother. Let's go over here into App Store versus Play Store. Hold on. For some reason that didn't open. Maybe I didn't click it correct. So I got to open this now and then reopen them. So let's go into both. 3, 2, go. I think the animation was a hair quicker on the Samsung, but nothing major. Apple also brings the bar up here in iOS 18. We'll go over here to games, which to me was a little bit weird to get used to at first because I was used to it at the bottom. But you'll see over here that generally they do pretty well in their day-to-day stuff. So, going through the app stores and stuff, not a major difference whatsoever. Let's go into Instagram. And you'll see the Instagram is actually properly optimized for the Samsung tablet. Over here, it's just a phone app, which is pretty weird because usually the iPad has more apps, and they still do have more better apps that are optimized for iPad, but this one is not one of them, as the Samsung shows a full version of Instagram. Very strange. Let's go into X here on both, and you'll see X properly optimized for the iPad now, and this looks like the phone version on the Samsung, so they kind of switched there. This is definitely the phone version. This is a tablet version. You could tell just by how big the posts are here and how we're seeing more content over here. Swiping out though, pretty similar performance. I am seeing better scrolling speed in certain apps so far on the iPad, but let's go into Amazon here on both. And I think a little faster on iPad, and again, looking like a phone app here for the Samsung. So the Samsung only had a really good Instagram so far. A lot of these apps are looking more optimized for iPad. So let's go over here into YouTube here on both, and you'll see iPad a little faster. We'll go over here to the trending tab, 3, 2, go. And we're in dark mode over here. I have to force dark mode. So this happens on the Samsung. You got to go to display, you got to go to advanced features, labs, dark mode apps, and you have to turn this off, or YouTube will always be in dark mode. So let's go back to YouTube. We'll go back to trending here. And we'll go over here to gaming, and we'll see in scrolling, both of them good in YouTube. YouTube is one of the better apps here for both products. However, the Samsung does have the 16:10 aspect ratio over here, or 16:10. So this one's gonna look better in video versus this one's gonna have bigger black bars. But this might be better aspect ratio for productivity. We'll go to eBay. In terms of like just the, when you're doing a taller page, this is going to be more crammed, like in a landscape mode. You'll see in eBay, not a big difference. This over here, the bar is over here, and then they're down here on this side. Pretty wide here, a little bit more narrow, but a lot taller. Let's go into Groupon. I know most people are not using they're not using their tablets in this mode, like in the portrait orientation. So they're mostly going to be in landscape, but for the speed test, we put them here. Let's go to categories, and we'll go to tickets and events. Let's find those here. And you'll see both of them pretty well optimized for Groupon, and that scrolling much choppier there on the S10 Ultra. Now, this is not going to be related probably to the CPU. This is probably more related to the optimization of that app. That looks terrible by comparison. Look at that. So I did notice that when using both of these, that while the Samsung does have a lot of great niceties over the iPad, the applications are not as smooth as you're seeing. Even Best Buy a little slower there. There's like a lot of choppy scrolling versus a lot smoother there. And anybody who tells you it's not, or it's smoother, is lying to you. Let's go into Jetpack Joyride, but that doesn't make it not a great option because the trade-in values are huge on here. You could definitely get this for a lot cheaper than this over here most of the time, and you get more screen. It's probably a better media experience for some people. In addition to that, better for multitasking. So Samsung does get its credit. They do have a compelling alternative to the iPad Pro. However, they don't have, better, I think, optimized apps for the day-to-day. So let's go ahead and put them back into the portrait orientation, and let's go into Subway Surfers now. So let's hop over into Subway Surfers, 3, 2, and go. and we'll see which one can get there first. And you'll see that that was quicker for the right over the Samsung. Now, both of these are in their portrait orientations, and so they do have this app in portrait because this is more of a phone app, just kind of blown up here for the tablets. Let's head up out of here and we'll go into Free Fire. So in Free Fire, let's go ahead and open this up. This is a little bit more demanding than those casual apps we just did. And we do have a new update, it looks like, for winter time. And you'll see the Samsung pulling ahead. Yeah, the Samsung is winning that one out there. So not shocking. I'm not shocked because they do put a really fast GPU in there, as well as Apple having a fast GPU. But Apple said, shut up, Nick. What are you talking about? I tricked you right there. That's what he said. I tricked you. So definitely a little quicker there to load up there for the iPad. And we're still waiting on something for the Samsung. Let's go ahead and hit remove and we'll swipe up out of here. All right, so let's go ahead and head into PUBG Mobile now on both of them. 3, 2, go. And see which one could get there first. Now, every time you open the game mode does appear, usually on the iPad. And you'll see that the Samsung device definitely has lost this one out. And you'll see the iPad a little bit ahead. So definitely very quick there for the iPad. Also quick on the Samsung though. And both of them are going to be really good as you have these really large tablets to play this game. At this size though, I probably would connect the controller if I was playing games at this size of a tablet, because it's going to be a little uncomfortable to hold these behemoths, for your day-to-day gaming performance. And let's go ahead and hop into Geekbench 6. And that was faster on the left, so not optimized right for the iPad. We'll go into 3D Mark, and faster on the right, and then Speed Test Net, faster on the right, and then the Samsung. So after all these apps, I do think the iPad is quicker. It definitely opens smoother and quicker. I think it opens more apps, more smoother. And when I say smoother, I mean the scrolling mostly. I think it opens them a little quicker when it comes to the games. And during that gaming performance, it probably would be a little bit better as the benchmarks are going to show in the graphics. So let's go ahead and take a look at the RAM reload, see how they do with holding these apps in the background, however. All right, so we're going to start with the Samsung here. And you'll see very good here performance going back between these apps. And we got to flip this back one more time. We're going to have to do it again here for Free Fire. Had that opened. We'll go on the Subway Surfers. We'll go on the Jetpack Joyride. And then we'll take it over here to Best Buy. We'll go into Groupon. The Groupon was loading up something. I'm not sure. Doing pretty good there for YouTube. And then we do have 12 gigs of RAM here. We'll go into Play Store. We'll go into Weather. And we'll go into Calculator, Clock, and we'll go into Calendar. So very good performance there on the Samsung. Let's take a look at the iPad. This is 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't have the higher storage tier. I think that one gives you more RAM. Let me go ahead and lock the orientation here. Super annoying. Let me lock the orientation here. And then we'll go over here into Free Fire. We'll go into Subway Surfers, Jetpack. We'll go in here to Best Buy, we'll go to Groupon, and look at that smoothness. So I do think the iPad does a better job of visually looking smoother when RAM management. In addition to that, it seems to open these apps a little bit better as well from what I'm seeing. I could be wrong though. But definitely both of them do very good here in the multitasking. So both of them are multitasking beasts, and iPad is more competitive here than with the iPhone because they have Stage Manager, they have split screen. Although Samsung's super competitive with DeX and having its ability to pop view windows and have 3 apps at a time. So even more multitasking ability there. Both of them did pretty well there, but I think the iPad looked a little smoother if I'm being honest. Okay guys, so how about we open a couple of pages? Let's go to Samsung.com here on both. We'll hit go. And the iPad loaded Samsung's website faster. And there's still cyber deals going on. That's why I don't ever freak out about like getting them the first day, because they still are happening. I actually got this Samsung tablet on one of the cyber deals. So definitely, this is probably one of the best time of the year to get a Samsung product, is in the cyber and on the Black Friday. Let's go into Apple.com here to be fair on both of them. Watch Samsung load Apple.com faster. 3, 2, and go. And you'll see, nope, it was the iPad loading that quicker. So Safari, slightly snappier looking than Samsung Internet, but it's so slight that it wouldn't make a zero difference in the day-to-day. Let's learn more about the iPad Air, a little faster there on the left, although we are loading up this graphic here on the right. Both of them pinch to zoom very smoothly, and it's a really amazing experience browsing the web on either of these. It really is. So either way you go there for web browsing, I think you're going to be very happy. Both of them do an incredible job in this area. Okay, so the iPad is done with a 13,358 on the multi-core score and a 3702 on the single core. The Samsung is only at 72% here, now 75 on Geekbench 6, so already finishing much faster, probably going to be the much higher performing product. However, again, you'll need to take advantage of this performance, not giving Samsung credit here. I'm just saying you need to take advantage of this for it to really be worth it. I feel like the only area that I found that this to be very useful for me is in gaming, and when I do some videos, when I pound out some videos on the 4K 60 renders in my LumaFusion app here on the iPad. Also, you can use Final Cut Pro or iMovie for some more simple edits, but definitely that's where I really found it useful. But the Samsung at 93% now, just about to finish up. We could have already been running the benchmark here for the iPad here. So we'll wait it out here and we'll be back when they're done. And it looks like it's about to be done right here. A 6940 on the single or on the multi-core and a 2039. So not horrible on that single core. So your day-to-day stuff's going to be good. Not horrible on the multi either, but the iPad is just leagues above it in terms of the scores here. So we'll see how they actually happen to score in the 3D Mark though, because sometimes those benchmarks always win by substantial margins on Geekbench, but then we have different results here in Wildlife Extreme. So I'll be back when they're done with these tests. And so the iPad is done here. I actually started it before the Samsung, so it's not done faster, it's just done. We have an 8255. Let me see if I can bring that a little closer here. We have an 8255 with a 49.4 FPS and 98% overall, better than other devices. So it's better than 98% of devices on the market today. So I don't think the Samsung is going to get in there, but you'll see 28 FPS, which is very respectable. That's a pretty good score for frame rates. It's going to be a great gaming device. 47, 46, and then you'll see that it scored better than 91% of devices. So there's not many that are faster than the S10 Ultra either. So that's definitely ultra performance. Again, though, the iPad pulling ahead. So it is the benchmark king. Maybe the Samsung's the queen. I don't know in this comparison here. But definitely in neither benchmark did the Samsung pull ahead. In the actual performance, it didn't feel like it pulled ahead either. But I think for what it's worth, there's a lot of other compelling options and features on here that really sell it to me over the iPad. So let me know if you want to see a full comparison between these two, or if you want to see a full review on the Samsung S10 Ultra, since we covered this earlier this year. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and either way you go, you're going to be pretty happy here. I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.